Thank you for attending the Cannabis Investor Webcast. I would like to thank our platinum sponsors, Nemus Bioscience Incorporated, American Green Incorporated, and Technical 420. Technical 420 will be giving away a free stock report to one attendee of this presentation. Please visit technical420.com to view their latest stock reports. Our presenter today is Michael Berger, founder of Technical 420. Give me a couple of seconds, Michael, and I will make you the presenter.
Technical 420 is a premier provider of independent online research that provides up-to-date, non-biased research and analysis on over 100 publicly traded cannabis companies. Our mission is to provide the most comprehensive, accurate information pertaining to the cannabis industry. We have an in-house team of analysts that are devoted to analyzing these stocks throughout all trading hours to make sure that you guys are getting the most accurate information. We have been featured in Bloomberg, The Washington Post, Miami Herald, NBC, Yahoo Finance, and things are just taking off. So I'm sure you guys are wondering who I am and why should you be taking my advice or reading my research. My name is Michael Berger, and I used to work for Raymond James Financial in the Equity Research Department when I received countless phone calls from financial advisors asking what are the marijuana stocks out there and how do I get involved. Unfortunately, being in the finance industry, you can't provide any financial advisors with any of this information because it's against the guidelines of the broker-dealer that you're working for unless you actually cover the stock. While I was at Raymond James, I also worked as a business analyst and financial analyst for the private client group, and I was a compliance advisor as a traveling auditor. I'm currently a level 2 CFA candidate, and I'll be taking it in June this year. Didn't pass it last year because I was too busy getting this business up and going, but I think this time is the time. I passed the Series 7 in 24 while I was working as a compliance advisor. However, these are not active anymore because I'm no longer under a broker-dealer and we are independent. I graduated from Florida State University and I was a finance and economics major. I started trading when I was a freshman in college after the market crashed and really started to learn a lot about this industry. So let's get into the company. What do we offer? We offer for $20 a month, you get access to our Pro Trader dashboard. This will give you a morning newsletter which provides you with our daily stock picks, our access to our premium feed, access to a priority messaging system where you can message me questions throughout the day pertaining to questions of companies in the industry, how to trade. Really, we help walk you through the process. You also can access our expert company ratings, our premium indexes, our stock of the week, and our watch list. On the side, we sell company-specific research reports and an industry analysis report, which will be released in the coming weeks. This industry analysis report is one of a kind. There is nothing else out there like it, and it really will show you kind of how big this industry will and can be. So how do we analyze these companies? We've developed a proprietary algorithm that merges technical, fundamental, momentum, and market sentiment data to yield the most comprehensive analysis possible. These companies don't trade like your typical stock. They don't have the institutional support, and they don't have the financial backing that most of these companies have to keep a stable price. So they're all over the place. The reason why you can get into great stocks at good prices is because volatility creates opportunity. Many of these retail investors get out early because they're concerned about something or they read something from a source that is providing biased information that might not be true. So you can actually get into good companies at great prices, and you just wait for them to pop back up because the way these companies trade, they always just follow the curve. So the way we do our analysis is through our partnerships with Thomson Reuters, which provides us with real-time research and data, and we can merge this into an Excel add-in formula. This Excel add-in formula enables us to create a proprietary algorithm that does this analysis on the spot. We also are proud to announce we're the only cannabis company to be working with Isentium LLC, which is an industry leader in data mining technology. What they do is they take all the tweets that go out every day and they measure their versus the stock price. So what they do is they measure the market sentiment based off these tweets versus the price. And it accounts for if you're just a random person with no following announcing tweets. For example, it'll value Jim Cramer's opinion a lot higher than it'll value yours if you are not a finance professional. So their data operates at 80% accuracy, And they do this for regular companies. But however, they created the cannabis algorithm specifically for us. And pro traders will have access to this type of information. So what separates Technical 420 from the rest of the competition? Well, number one, we're independent. No employee can buy or sell any marijuana stock, and we do not accept money from any cannabis company for a favorable rating. When we write our reports, we don't send them over to the CEO or a member of their company's management for them to edit and change. We release them because we rewrite what is real. We don't have any emotional attachment or financial attachment to any of these companies, so we just tell it how it is, unlike many of the other people out there that are biased or just do a pretty nice copy and paste job. We've created partnerships with many high up and very well-known financial companies, such as the Money Show. I'll be speaking at the Money Show's World Money Show Convention next Thursday, and I'll be hosting a panel of marijuana experts that include GW Pharmaceutical. This will be the first time that GW Pharmaceuticals is going to be at any sort of trade show. The reason why they don't attend is because they're not a marijuana stock. They're a pharmaceutical company that improves daily life for people around the world. I'm also the expert analyst on Steve Crowley's American Scene radio show. This plays on 740 AM radio, and he has recognized us as the go-to source for non-biased, accurate information on these companies. We have a very strong management team that is young, but we've brought in a lot of older senior talent. This includes Bud McAllen, who used to work for IBM, and a bunch of other high-up execs that decided that they do not want to be named until mid-February once we finalize our partnership. We also have an extensive pipeline of products that are first of their kind. This is the non-biased research report that we're talking about, and the comprehensive business analysis industry report, which will value the entire cannabis industry through the sum of the parts analysis. We have a rapidly growing following on social media platforms. This includes over 23,000 followers on Facebook and nearly 2,000 on Twitter. We've been a much stronger presence on Facebook, and it's really helped get out what these companies should know. So how big can this industry be? The cannabis industry can surpass the tobacco industry over the next few decades as long as deregulation continues to occur and legal state markets continue to grow and develop. Also, the opening of new state markets wouldn't hurt. Our industry report projects that the cannabis industry will be a $500 billion market by 2030. And you heard that correct, $500 billion. Every other estimate out there is probably 1/10 as high as ours. And you're probably like, okay, this guy's just blowing smoke. There's no way this industry will be $500 billion, but it will. Because we look into more parts than just the selling of marijuana. There's a lot more going on in this industry than just buying and selling marijuana. You have pharmaceutical businesses. You have industrial hemp businesses. You have ancillary businesses that will all benefit and all generate revenue from this industry. Hemp has the opportunity to do amazing things for this world, such as create food, medicine, oil. There's countless things. You can go on my website to find out what we know hemp can do. And the research hasn't even started. So what factors were measured to actually figure out that this will be a $500 billion industry? We looked into the year per state, because this is done on a per state basis, and we aggregated it. Year that marijuana was legalized, current revenue generated from legal marijuana, if they have that, what's the current state law, expectation of new state markets that open, and the ones that we expect to open in 2017 get passed in 2016, and the ones that we expect to open in 2020. All of this is included in the report. We look into the total population. We look into population segments. I know you're probably thinking, why are you looking into people between the age 10 and 18? But think about it. 10 years from now, these people are going to be 20 to 28. Most of them will be able to buy recreational marijuana, and that's why we take them into account. But they only actually get added into the equation years down the line once they are above age. Same thing that goes for the 18 to 35, because the 18 to 20 are still unable to use marijuana. We look into average net income and net worth. We look into tax revenue generated from alcohol and tax revenue generated from tobacco. We were able to find more of a correlation from alcohol than we were with tobacco, but it still had a play on our analysis. We also looked into the state leadership. Is it conservative or is it liberal? So So let's talk about the cannabis industry. It exploded during 2014, but this is just the start. Over the course of 2014, we saw the industry expand in a way that ordinary people didn't have to invest in a company that actually sold marijuana. They could make a play on the ancillary business or the pharmaceutical market, real estate, consulting, holding companies. It's unbelievable how fast this industry is growing and really how big it can get. These new industries just popped up in a year, and there's probably 20 to 30 more that are out there, but they're very small. They're made up of very niche companies, and you're seeing them get gobbled up by the bigger boys. So what are the risks of investing in this industry? Because there's a lot. I mean, you're not investing in a value stock. These companies are very developmental, very speculative, and a lot of them haven't generated revenue yet and probably won't for a little bit because they're still working on getting basic business services for the business. Some of them, like the growers, they can't even open a business account. So factors you should probably look into if you're going to be investing in these stocks, just off the 5 basic ones, would be the exchange the company trades on. Are they a NASDAQ stock? Which probably not, because there's only around 2 or 3 if you consider ARNA as a marijuana stock. How many shares are outstanding? What's the dilution potential? You don't really want to invest in a stock that has 1 billion shares outstanding. Look into what a normal company has and try to get into ones like that. They're more of a long-term play for you because you need to look into what is the dilution potential. Have they given out deals that will make the stock, that will create more shares that years down the line, which will end up diluting your ownership? Who makes up the executive board and what's their track record? I mean, look at a company like Cerna. Tom Bollock is pretty big. He was with a very strong NASDAQ company, Zynga, before he left and ended up joining Cerna. So get involved with companies that have legitimate management that are actually doing things in favor of the shareholders. You don't want to get one that is not going to be acting in their best interest. I'm not saying you should hire a PI and look into these guys, but you should probably do your research. Look into the companies generating revenue. A lot of them aren't, but some of them are. It's probably better to get in the ones that are generating revenue or at least have a plan to. Some of these companies will just announce press release after press release, and they don't do anything. They pretend to be opening up a new business or starting up a new sector, but really they're just kind of blowing smoke because you want to look for ones that are actually acting on their business initiatives and acting to capitalize on growth opportunities. So 4 and 5 pretty much go together. And, of course, look out for pump and dump schemes. This has been a major issue with the cannabis industry and what almost caused its demise in the middle of 2014. A pump and dump scheme is a form of microcap stock fraud which involves artificially inflating a price through false or misleading positive statements or press releases in order to sell these cheap stocks at a higher price after convincing all these people to buy. So they'll just dump the stock after the average Joe investor buys in and the stock's already gone up 100%. And the way these scammers operate is much different today and a lot more high-tech because back in the days of the Wolf of Wall Street, he didn't have the internet. He didn't have message boards. He didn't have outreach. They had to rely on cold calls. The internet offers a cheap and easy way to reach thousands and thousands of investors. They utilize email spam campaigns through media channels, through fake press releases, social media to get out their pitch and convince you to buy their stock. When you're reading a research report, look at the disclosures. See if this company owns stock in the actual company they wrote the report on. See if they have final say on what goes into this report. Look at what you're investing in because you want to make sure you're reading the right stuff. Don't get tricked by people that are just trying to take advantage of a hot market out there that a lot of people don't know about yet. One thing that happened in 2014, and this is why I want to touch on this topic, is the number of companies that were suspended. There is 9 companies suspended by the SEC during 2014. A lot of these had issues to deal with pump and dump stocks. However, some of them had more severe issues such as insider trading or fake invoices. After these stocks were suspended, specifically Advanced Cannabis Solutions and Grow Life, the market plummeted. This is because Advanced Cannabis and Grow Life had the highest amount of institutional interest. So once these companies were suspended, a lot of people thought this industry is just pretty much a joke, and they pulled their money out, and they got out of it for good. It doesn't matter if you have 1,000 people investing in a stock. When you have if you have one person who pulls out who owns more stock than 1,000 people, the stocks are going to get screwed, and that's what these institutions are. This is what you need before you can actually have support and you can actually do legitimate technical analysis on these companies. So why will the SEC suspend a stock? Well, there could be a lack of current or accurate information, lack of accuracy or public information, which leads to these press releases, and lying about your financial condition, or questions in stock trading. So 1,000 shares going up and down when really they only trade 100 a day. Obviously, these numbers are arbitrary because usually there's a lot more stock being traded per day, but you get the picture. So now that you heard the good and the bad, what's next? What's the catalyst? What's going to make this industry become the tobacco? What is going to make it overtake alcohol? None will be bigger than the rescheduling of marijuana out of its Schedule 1 label. The Schedule 1 label means that the plant or the substance, which is cannabis in this case, has no medicinal benefits. Clearly, you see the medicinal benefits through CBD. And until recently, I wasn't even aware that CBDV was even better than CBD. Point of the matter is that there's 80 chemical compounds over 80 chemical compounds in cannabis, and we barely have cracked the cusp. Companies like GWPH are actually doing the research of these types of compounds to find out what helps and what hurts or what has a medicinal property. Pretty much, you all know that there is medicinal benefits associated with cannabis. The government just needs to figure this out. The other catalysts for this industry include Treasury reform, which we expect to happen shortly after you have the rescheduling of marijuana, opening of new state markets, which also will happen after Treasury reform, and that which will lead to increased public awareness. And the number one thing, well, number two, I guess, because scheduling is number one, is people need to go out and vote. We need to elect smarter policymakers to enact smarter policies. If you keep having these people in office that don't really know what they're doing or have to rely on someone else to make their decisions for them, we're probably electing the wrong person. The world's changed, and we need to hire someone that's going to change with it. Register today at technical420.com and receive a 1-week free trial to use our services. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. All of our usernames is technical420. Or feel free to contact me by email using the address listed below. I look forward to helping you guys capitalize on cannabis, and I appreciate you guys listening in. Derwin, that is the rest of my speech.
Thank you, Michael. Give me a couple of seconds to queue up questions. Do you say on the side you sell reports not included in monthly fee?
Correct. We sell the research reports on the side for $10 each. However, with the subscription, you get 4 reports per month as well.
Next question. Are there marijuana sectors involving internationally, not including Canada, perhaps Europe and Uruguay?
Well, GWPH is based out of the UK, and they sell their drugs. They're one drug that's been prescribed, Sativec, in 27 different countries, not including the United States.
When do you project the sector indexes to rise on a meaningful basis?
Well, it's very hard to predict that. When I expect this industry to really explode will be when the Schedule 1 label is removed, which we expect to happen during 2015.
When do you think significant capital from institutional investors will move into the space?
Well, we already saw we saw significant capital move into Privateer Holdings, who's based out of Washington, from Peter Thiel, who was one of the initial investors in Facebook and the co-founder of PayPal. But I believe we'll see a lot more institutional money enter the space once you have more companies uplist to a NASDAQ or an NYSE-traded company. GWPH has over 40% institutional investment. So these institutions are really looking to get in on the company that generates revenue, has cash flow, and is led by the right people.
Do you think having a credit union would change the industry stock value?
I don't think that the credit union will have a major impact. I think you need an overall Treasury reform. You need something done by the DOJ and then impacted by the Department of Treasury to really allow these banks to start working with these companies. Credit unions are great for the meantime, but until they really have the access to the banks, you'll see the growth constrained. These companies would be making a lot more money if they could put their money in a bank.
Next question, do you follow Canadian marijuana stocks?
Correct. We do follow them. We follow Tweed, Bedrocan, Organigram, Aurora, Supreme, Affiner Growers. We look at a lot of the ones that have tickers that trade in the United States. However, we do have information on the ones that trade on the Canadian exchange as well.
Next question, what are the benefits of a publicly traded cannabis company having published research?
Well, the benefits of having research are great. I mean, the biggest benefit of it is if you want to get institutional investments involved, these institutions actually want to see the research. If you don't have independent research, you don't have anyone writing up about your company. I mean, you need to have research on your company. You need to read the research because that's how you learn about what's going on.
Are you following the cannabis space with developments in Israel?
We are. There's only one publicly traded company that's based out of Israel. They also have an office in New York. That's Bredt, B-R-D-T. But most of the companies out there are private. However, they are doing a lot of amazing things with the growing process and kind of the science behind all of this too.
Maybe they got the question confused. But the question was, what are you seeking funding for, and for what purpose?
Oh, we're not looking for funding.
Yeah.
We have funding.
Yeah. So I think they might have got confused. The next question is, comment on possible election of Loretta Lynch for Attorney General. She does not support legalization.
Oh, the new Attorney General?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, we published a piece about that earlier this morning. I mean, fortunately, she doesn't call the shots, but it would be great if she was supportive of it, and it's a shame that she's not. But, I mean, Eric Holder didn't really get too much done while he was in office pertaining to marijuana. He has tried to pass it off to Congress and let it happen at that level. So she won't really have the major say in it, I don't think.
If you have a negative outlook on a cannabis company, do you publish that? So, in other words, I guess you have some analysts.
Yeah, we have sell ratings on a bunch of these companies.
Yes. So
we only have buy ratings on maybe 20 of them to 30 at a certain time. I mean, some of them might go from a buy to a hold depending on how much the price goes up or down. But our ratings are determined off of what are they trading at, what does the company do, what have they done, and where are they going. So a lot of it depends on what value it is at. I mean, when GWPH was at $111, we told people to sell. I mean, now it's in the mid-70s. It looks like a nice buy, but our ratings are determined off of where the price is.
And that's part of being independent research, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's what the independent comes down to. So we're not attached. We don't want the stock to continue to go up if it doesn't deserve to be going up. We'll be calling them out. We have sell ratings on a lot of these companies. If we don't cover you, probably because we don't like you. I mean, when I call all these companies on the phone, they can't just answer the phone. That means they probably don't have one, which means they probably don't do anything.
Okay, and so if a company is not, a CEO of a cannabis company is not responsive, and you write a report on that company, you're still independent, even though they're not responding. If you find,
I mean, yeah, we'll send emails. We'll try to contact them. If let's say they announce a big piece of news, we will call them to try to get their take on it, how it's going to affect their balance sheet, and what's going to do going forward for their guidance. If they can't get back to me within let's say a week, and I reach out 5 to 10 times, of course I'm going to publish something. I'll write on my report, if I can't get in touch with this guy, I'm trying to find out about this, then they probably just, I mean, I can imagine these guys are busy, but you can have a senior exec talk to someone that is offering research easily.
So you can write a report without sitting down talking to the CEO or the CFO?
Correct. I'll write reports on companies if I haven't spoken with the CEO.
Gotcha. Next question. Do you think the laws will ever be consistent across the board, both state and federal?
I mean, I think once the Schedule I label is removed from cannabis, then you'll see a more consistent law being enacted by the federal level, at the federal level. I mean, I think marijuana is going to be a major topic of the 2016 election. I think you'll see one of the candidates support it, or both of them support it, or none. But it's going to be a big topic, and I think that once you have a regulated system at the federal level, that's when people are going to necessarily cross the green tape and enter the industry, such as your banks, your research firms, your broker-dealers, your legitimate broker-dealers.
Okay, and so, Michael, I know you touched on this, but I'm getting several questions about it, so maybe we need to go over it again. So how does your service work? Okay, so you sell your research to institutional investors. You know, give us a little detail on how that works. And then, and then for the individual investor also.
Yeah, so for our individual investors, we work with all types of investors. We work with anybody. All you do to use our services, you go to technical420.com. You can be a free user or you can be a premium user. Our free users, what you get you get a morning email and an afternoon email. It's a newsletter that goes over what happened, what's going to happen. It doesn't really give you any investment advice, though. If you're interested in trading or you are a trader and you want some advice on what to trade, that's when we recommend our Pro Trader package. With this package, you'll get access to our morning stock picks, which are sent out in our premium newsletter. You get access to our premium feed, which is on the website. All you do is you'll have your own personal dashboard on the website. That'll give you the stock picks, our stock of the week, the watch list, which the watch list is a list of stocks that we're watching closely. We'll list what we're watching for, what we like, what we don't like, and what do we expect to make the stock go up. We will sell research reports on the side. However, if you are a free Pro Trader user and you're a premium user and you pay for the service, you get 4 research reports a month, and these will be given to you every Friday. And this aspect of our service will start next week. Also, you can use the code T, capital T, 420 to get 10% off.
What do you think about Gary Johnson, who is running for president and is also a president of a cannabis company?
Yeah, he's the president of CBDS, Cannabis Sativa. I think he used to be the governor, I believe, of New Mexico. I wasn't aware he was running for president. I didn't even know he had the candidates for the presidency yet. But I think it's very interesting him being involved. I mean, he would definitely have a lot of support from a lot of people that want to see marijuana made legal if he ran for president, but I don't think he's going to be the one running for president.
Next question. You really think that with what's going on in Washington alone, will we be descheduled or just rescheduled?
It will be rescheduled, most likely to a Schedule II or a Schedule III substance. And I don't think it's because of what's happening in Washington. I think it's because of what's happening just around the world and what people are finding out about this plant. I mean, the benefits it has are endless. People don't know yet. I mean, you're finding out that it could treat epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, PTSD, Dravet syndrome, Parkinson's. It's unbelievable. I mean, these are just the initial findings. Imagine when you put money into it to learn. The thing about a drug being a Schedule I drug is that you can't actually research its benefits. So no government agency, no research firm could look into cannabis right now or deeply look into cannabis because there's no funding behind that because it's a Schedule I substance. So until you remove it from that Schedule I substance, you won't really learn all the benefits associated with it.
Next question. With the Canadian cannabis market is seems to be further along. Would you suggest the Canadian cannabis, stock market be a better investment over the U.S. Market as far as cannabis stocks are concerned?
I don't think so because, I mean, the only public companies that really are in Canada are dispensary or growers, those types of companies out there. In a lot of these companies, what they did is they went the cheap way and they didn't build their facility. The only company in Canada that I know is actually building their facility is Aurora, and their ticker symbol is ACB. Unfortunately, you cannot buy their stock in the United States on the United States exchange because they have not created a ticker for a United States exchange, such as Tweed, which has made one, Organigram, and Bedrocan all have tickers in the United States. But a lot of these companies, what they did is for example, Tweed bought an old Hershey's chocolate factory to grow their marijuana in, not realizing that a lot of the walls will be soaked pretty much with chocolate smell and that the weed won't come out right. So you're seeing a lot of issues with their product. And there's no ancillary companies there either. The ancillary companies, the ancillary businesses, the pharmaceutical businesses, most of those are in the United States.
Okay, well, I don't know if you can answer this last question, Michael. Maybe they have to go to your stock reports. But they asked what company would you have a buy recommendation on right now? I guess they just want one example of one company you had a buy recommendation on.
Well, I mean, it's really tough to give you all the disclosures required with giving you a recommendation like that because that's on our website. But if I was to recommend any company, it'd probably be the one I mentioned 100 times during this presentation, which is GW Pharmaceutical, GWPH. They're the most expensive stock in the cannabis sector, but they have hands down the best outlook. They have a deep pipeline of pharmaceutical products, and they are doing things that no company can do.
Okay, well, that concludes our Q&A. Any final comments, Michael, about the Technical 420 or the market in general?
Well, the overall market, yeah, it's volatile out there, and you're seeing a lot of issues due to oil going down. I used to be an oil and gas expert over at Raymond James, so I can tell you that is going to have some consequences on the industry and the whole global economy going forward. However, the cannabis stock market has been great. A lot of these companies are up double-digit percentages this year. Some of them are up triple digits. So you can find a lot of winners in the cannabis space, and we can help you do that. If you want organized, easy to read, easy to access information, come to technical420.com. You get a one week free subscription trial, so you can cancel anytime within that week. We don't get your credit cards, we don't get your information. That all goes through PayPal. But they take any sort of credit card out there. So utilize this free offer, check us out, see if it's something you're interested in, and let us help you. Help me help you.
Thanks a lot, Michael. That concludes the presentation.